We've endured Thanksgiving and enjoyed Turkey Day, and then the day after Thanksgiving, so-called Black Friday, was a great success. And now, today is one of the biggest shopping days. It's called Cyber Monday. I mean, is there no end of the orgy of buying stuff?
That's right. But today is not a shopping day in stores. It's a shopping day on the Internet. As Pat said, it's called Cyber Monday, when Americans go online for the biggest bargains after the Thanksgiving shopping season. Charlene Israel has the story.
Online shoppers are expected to spend more than $1 billion today, taking advantage of Cyber Monday deals. It's predicted to be the biggest online shopping day of the year. Retailers generally begin offering deep discounts on their websites at midnight, but this year many of those deals started early.
There were so many deals being offered online, starting from Wednesday all the way through the weekend, and now some of that money has already been spent.
Several major retailers started Black Friday early as well. Target, Walmart, and Kohl's were among those that opened on Thanksgiving Day. The strategy paid off. 247 million shoppers visited stores and websites over the past 4 days, spending on average $432 per person. That totals about $59 billion spent over the holiday season, an all-time high.
I actually didn't get any Christmas shopping done. I just shopped for myself.
We got boots, we got shoes, we got appliances, we got luggage.
The deals brought out the worst in some shoppers.
Push one of my kids out, we'll stab one of you.
Everybody started going crazy about it, and then cops got called in, and it was just him a madhouse.
In Massachusetts, a man left his girlfriend's 2-year-old son in a car while he went shopping for a new flat screen. Police forced their way into the car and found the boy asleep. He was taken to a nearby hospital as a precaution. Experts say the madness of the holiday weekend shopping will pay off for the economy. The National Retail Federation estimates that overall retail sales in November and December will be up 4.1% this year. Charlene Israel, CBN News.
What kind of a people have we become? You know, Thanksgiving is supposed to be a day of giving thanks to God for his many blessings. And I was privileged to share Thanksgiving with my oldest son and his wonderful family and their spouses and so forth. And it was around the table, everybody giving thanks for what they were thankful for. It's just wonderful. Christmas is supposed to be celebrating the birth of Jesus, and we've got the Christmas story coming up on this program. But this orgy of shopping is just crazy. We've become materialistic, you know, with a vengeance. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's one thing to think about it and to talk about it, but to see those pictures of people just shoving.
Somebody shot somebody. I mean, we're talking about fist fights and you know, over
a flat screen TV.
Yeah, flat screen or whatever. I'm telling you. I don't do it, but my wife, God bless her, she is a catalog.
No giving away family secrets.
She is a catalog. We have so many catalogs. I mean, they come in by the bushel.
Let me say this in defense of Dee Dee, because I am in the same scenario. If you buy one thing from a catalog, you will receive 6 of those catalogs throughout the year on a regular basis.
They sell the list back and forth, and so
goodness.
she's on the list of every sucker group in the country, but she doesn't buy online.
And you better say thank you when you get those gifts, my friend.
Well, she gets some pretty good stuff.
I know she does.
I'm the beneficiary of some of those. It isn't cyber. It's, what do you call it? Magazine shopping, whatever. No Black Friday.
It's the 1-800 method.
1-800. Okay. Well, while shoppers are spending money, Congress is trying to figure out how to bring in more cash for the government. Guess what? Through taxes. Lee Webb has that story from the CBN Newsroom. Lee.
Pat, some, and we want to emphasize the word some, congressional Republicans say they may go along with raising taxes to avoid the so-called fiscal cliff next year, but only under certain conditions. Tax hikes have always been a no-go for Republicans. They want to see more spending cuts. Many signed a pledge never to raise taxes. Now some are willing to place taxes on the table in exchange for entitlement reforms and restructuring the tax code.
I will violate the pledge, long story short, for the good of the country, only if Democrats will do entitlement reform.
A pledge you signed 20 years ago, 18 years ago, is for that Congress. The world has changed, and the economic situation is different.
President Obama wants to raise taxes on households earning more than $250,000 a year. Republicans want to eliminate some deductions and keep the tax rates the same. Congress and the president have until the end of the year to avoid across-the-board tax increases and spending cuts that some economists say could lead to another recession. Pat, it's always the Republicans who seem to cave on these economic issues. I doubt too many Democrats are going to be willing to compromise on this issue.
You remember George Bush? I was in the convention when he stood at the platform and he gave a speech that I think Peggy Noonan had written for him. And you remember he said, they're going to come to me and they say raise taxes. And I will say, read my lips, no new taxes. And everybody just went wild. They cheered. And well, that was the soundbite that went around. And all of a sudden, they got him into a box. And the Democrats said, if you want to keep the country going, you're going to have to raise taxes. And he caved on it. And they used the term in Washington, they rolled him. And he lost the election on account of that for the next time out. But his Secretary of the Treasury, James Baker, has made a suggestion. It was an op-ed piece a couple of days ago I mentioned. I think, again, it's brilliant. He says, okay, you want to raise taxes. Tax increases will go into effect immediately, but spending cuts are a little ephemeral, and they're down the road. So he said, if you don't stop the spending, you automatically cancel out the tax cuts. And or the tax increases, I guess is what it is. And that might work, but there's got to be some mechanism to keep the Democrats honest, or else they will, quote, roll the Republicans again. Lee.
Pat, a judge has told a Texas high school it cannot remove a student because she refuses to wear a smart ID tracking badge. CBN News first brought you this story back in October. John Jay High School's Science and Engineering Academy requires students to wear badges with tracking chips in them. That allows school officials to know a student's location. Andrea Hernandez says the new ID violates her religious beliefs as well as her privacy, and the judge agreed. The Rutherford Institute took her case to court after the principal threatened to kick her out of school. Some key Republicans say they may not stand in the way of UN Ambassador Susan Rice becoming the next Secretary of State if President Obama nominates her. Republicans have been highly critical of Rice's early explanation of the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. She blamed it on an anti-Islamic video rather than terrorism. Senator John McCain says Rice should be able to tell her side of the story, and he says the real question is why the attack happened at all.
But the biggest aspect of this whole thing is it's got to be really looked into is why there was such a failure on the part of the administration in light of events, the two attacks on our embassy, the assassination attempt on the British ambassador. They closed their consulate. All this long train of events that made our consulate in Benghazi a death trap. And then during that, why didn't we have military capabilities close by, especially on September 11th?
Other Republicans say if Rice is nominated, she will face serious questions about the Benghazi attack and other events, Pat.
I think that the Republicans, to cave on this one was a mistake. You know, she's an intelligent woman. She's touted as being a graduate of this, that, and the other. I just believe that she was smart enough to have smelled something wrong before she went on repeated television appearances to parrot the party line. She should have called back to her superiors and said, hey, wait a minute, what's the backup on this? How do you know it's true? But she didn't. She just went on and made those statements. Well, you get a Secretary of State with no more of an inquiring mind than that, and you've got serious problems for our country. So I don't think she's qualified, and I think the Republicans should block her nomination. Lee?
Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi meets today with judges in Egypt about his decision to take over new government powers. Morsi's move has left Egypt deeply divided. Chris Mitchell has that story.
For days, anti-Morsi protesters have battled against police. They want Morsi either to step down or rescind his decrees.
The position is obvious. There is no negotiation. And the political powers will not meet with President Mohamed Morsi until he has cancelled the constitutional declaration.
Morsi's decree stated no one can reverse or change any of his decisions. This effectively puts him in control of all branches of Egypt's government, executive, legislative, and judicial. Morsi claims his decrees are only temporary, but many political leaders disagree, like Nobel Peace Prize winner Mohamed El-Baradei.
We have a new pharaoh in town. That is after we thought we have moved from the pharaoh's time, to the 21st century. We are back to having a new pharaoh. The country, in short, is falling apart.
Egypt's stock market lost 10% of its value over the political instability, while many pro-Morsi demonstrators defended his actions. Also last week, Christian leaders withdrew from the assembly drafting a new constitution. They objected to the majority Islamists who are redefining what Sharia law means. Here in Jerusalem, some are concerned about what Morsi's actions mean for long-term relations between Israel, Egypt, and the rest of the Middle East. While Morsi gained international prestige by helping to broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, one former ambassador told CBN News Morsi's latest actions look like he's trying to establish an Iranian-style religious state. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Tell you, Pat, the Obama administration can't act like they're surprised by what's happening in Egypt right now.
Well, the Brotherhood is a radical group. The Brotherhood is the one who started the Palestine Liberation Organization and sent Yasser Arafat up into that area to run it. They also have fostered and perhaps started Hamas. Hamas is their creation, so of course Hamas will do what Morsi tells them to. But Morsi wants a caliphate. He wants to set up a Islamic-dominated caliphate, which would extend not only from Egypt, but all around the Middle East. That's what they want. That's their goal. And their goal is to destroy Israel along the way. So to play him as a moderate, some kind of a reformer, is just nonsense. But of course, that is the line that has been put out by the Obama administration, which goes along with the reason that these people rioted was because of some video that appeared in some remote corner of the internet. Nonsense. But anyhow, if you believe that, I've got an island in Manhattan I'd sell you for $24. Lee.
Israeli Defense Minister Ehud Barak says he's quitting politics. The surprise announcement comes just 2 months before Israel's general election. Barak says he will step down after the new defense minister is appointed. Barak has held a number of government positions over the years. He's a military man and decorated war hero, and he beat Benjamin Netanyahu to become prime minister in 1999. Barak says he's leaving politics to spend more time with his family. Pat?
Well, he's a nice guy. He was working with Regent University for a while, I think, as a visiting professor. He appeared on our Clash of the Titans. He's a fabulous war hero, although he did make some mistakes. He offered the Palestinians the moon, and they turned him down. It was amazing, the concessions he was willing to make. But I think he will be missed in Israeli politics because he was a voice for strength. And I'm sure that Netanyahu found him a very important ally.
Car bomb attacks on a Protestant church in Nigeria have left at least 11 people dead. Officials say a bus packed with explosives ran into St. Andrew Military Protestant Church in a barracks in Kaduna State. About 10 minutes later, we're told that a car parked just outside the church exploded as people fled the first attack. No one has claimed responsibility for the bombings, but the radical Islamist sect known as Boko Haram has targeted Nigerian churches and military establishments in the past. More than 1,000 children professed their faith in Jesus Christ during a CBN children's event in Cambodia. Fans of the local CBN program Super Kids Club were invited to an afternoon of fun that included singing, dancing, and a presentation from the Bible. More than 2,000 children attended. Those that accepted Jesus Christ will be connected to local churches. Super Kids Club has been on the air in Cambodia for 10 years. And you can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by logging on to cbn.com/international.